Richard. Right, so I have your video recorded footage of your swim. The way this will work is basically it's recording the whole screen of my computer. Everything I say, everything I do will be recorded. So it's not super slick, but what it does allow me to do is to bring in screen grabs and sample videos and all that kind of stuff. So it seems to work quite well. So hope you find it useful. Right, I think what we'll do first of all is we'll play your swim through. Sometimes it can get a bit sticky. The computer struggles a little bit sometimes with the to handle the video. But anyway, so there you are, swimming. You've got a nice rhythm to your stroke actually. You're breathing bilaterally. You've got a nice stroke timing. Your heels are just touching the surface of the water. I suspect you're swimming quite quickly in this first length. You're putting quite a lot of effort in because your body does drop down a little bit as you tire, as the lengths progress. So yeah, a nice rhythm. What I am seeing, the first thing I'm seeing now really is a fairly low head position when you're not breathing, and then you're lifting your head and lifting your body quite high to breathe when you do need to breathe. So both goggles are coming out of the water when you breathe. Obviously, the higher you lift your head, then the more of a tendency there is for your legs to sink down. And obviously your legs sinking will cause drag. If you push your head too far down in the water when you're swimming along, when you're not breathing, obviously, then it can actually have the effect of causing your legs to sink as well, because your body, almost like as though you're over a barrel. The lower it's not as if it's the lower you put your head, the further up your legs go. It gets to a point where your legs will start to drop back down again to balance up the rest of your body. So it goes against what you logically think would happen sometimes, but that's what happens if you put your head too far down. It can cause your legs to sink a little bit down. Okay, so far then we've got head position and lifting your head right up to breathe. What I'm looking at here at the moment is, again, your breathing. We always start at breathing and head position. And I can see you take a breath and you hold on to your breath there, and then you start to breathe out during the second half of the stroke. What that can do is the buoyancy in the upper body, the having oxygen, having air in there, creates it makes the legs drop again. So it's something else which makes the legs drop as you swim. It also makes it less relaxed, so you feel like you've got less time to take a breath in. When you're breathing out, you should always have a constant stream of air coming out of your nose and mouth. You shouldn't hold it all the time. So you just hold it. It's kind of the first half of the underwater section of the stroke. So it's not excessive, but we could do with ironing that out as well. Okay, so first of all, we've got the key issues I'm looking at are the body positioning, the head position, and the breathing. So they're the main kind of issues we look at so far. So if we just take this forward another step. And get to the point where you're actually swimming, rather than looking at my feet. Okay, here we go. Now this view, there's nowhere to hide with this view. You can see pretty much everything that's happening. You've got generally a nice flow through the water, so you're naturally holding quite a nice streamlined position there as you push off. Okay, so what I'm looking at now is, obviously, we're still seeing your head rotate and come out of the water. We can see both goggles as you breathe to that one side. What I'm picking up here is the arm action. Okay, so you're over rotating. The arms as they enter the water should be pointing, so just go straight towards the end of the pool in the direction you're going and not cross over. Crossing over leads you to almost twist your body, and then your legs will scissor kick in order to provide balance. Okay, So again, that's another issue which is related to body positioning. Just letting it run there for a second. Okay. So we've got some issues we need to look at in terms of the catch as well. So the propulsion phase of the stroke. A lot of these issues are related. So if we sort out the breathing and the head position, the body position will improve, which will in turn mean that you'll be in a better position to get a good catch. We can work specifically on the catch as well, but each one thing impacts on something else further along the line. So there's always a natural kind of sequence of events that we need to go through, a sequence of kind of corrections that we need to go through. There's no point working the legs backwards for someone like yourself, because it may well be that once we've addressed the head position, the breathing, and the general body positioning, then the legs will improve as we go. Okay, so what we're going to do this time is play it through, but this time I'm going to pause it and again just talk about the issues that I'm seeing and provide a bit more explanation. So in terms of your head position, I'll just pause it there. As you take a stroke, we've got both goggles visible here, whereas we should only have one. What they call Popeye breathing. I'll see if I can find you a clip of this. There we go. There's a picture there. See that picture? So one goggle out, one goggle in, and then you kind of bend the mouth almost to breathe. So you keep your head nice and low. You create a bow wave with your head, and you breathe into the bow wave. Okay, so that's the kind of thing we want to be looking for. Where have we gone? Okay. You're breathing bilaterally, which is great, which is a really good start. It means you've already got some balance to your stroke. Have a look at your stroke rate as well. Your stroke rate is quite low. Obviously, your propulsion comes largely from your arms, comes from your stroke rate and the efficiency of the catch and pull. When I talk about your head positioning, at that point, take it back. I'm just going to roll this back a little bit. This system does have a tendency to get a little bit behind, so just wait for it to catch up a little. There we go. So your head is right down deep in the water. Right down. Okay, so of course that's pulling the rest of your upper body down. And again, it's making the whole body position lower than it should be. The lower your body position, the more drag there is. Again, let me just see if I can find head position. This bit of software I'm using is the Swim Coaching app. Okay, so you can see one of these. Your head position, really, you should be the surface of the water. You should always have the cap of your the cap on your head visible when you're swimming. If we show somebody like Jono Van Hazel. Now, Jono Van Hazel was the guy that the Mr. Smooth animation was based on. So if we look at his head position, see it's always there. It's always breaking the surface of the water. His head position almost doesn't move. It's constantly in the same position. Turns to breathe, stays in the same position. Okay, so if we compare that to your head position, you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. And of course that causes the rest of the body to follow. Okay, so that's the head positioning element of it. We'll just take this forward a little bit now to where you're actually swimming. Here we go. Okay, so again, this just demonstrates how low in the water you are. Your head is completely submerged, so we can get that sorted out. I mean, if your head position, once your head position is higher, you'll find it easier to breathe. You'll find the whole lot of the stroke much more relaxing. Okay, what we'll move on to now is body positioning, and again, if we can get this sorted, get this addressed, the body positioning, it will help a whole bunch of issues, including the breathing. Okay, so what we're finding here, in fact, I'll take that a little bit further forward. Okay, there we go, that's perfect. Right, so what we've got here is we're over rotating, so the upper body is almost becoming vertical. In fact, it does, it becomes completely vertical in the water. Your head is right away over. Both goggles out of the water. And then what your lead arm is doing is it's collapsing down underneath the water. When it's collapsing down underneath the water, that should be staying straight and it should be staying high. Okay, because of your body, you're crossing over the center line. If you look at your lead hand as it comes in here, there we go. So your lead hand line is coming over this way, okay? Where in actual fact it should be entering the water and going straight ahead. And because you're going over that way, you're forcing your legs, we run this through, to balance, provide balance, to try and balance the body out and ending up with this scissor kicking. And that causes the legs to drop and again causes drag. So again, this is another body positioning issue. So we need to sort out the roll and sort out the dropping of the lead hand. The lead hand should still be there at that point. If we go back to Jono. Sorry, I didn't want to do that. Just give me 2 seconds. Oh, done it again. Still getting used to this system. Elites. I want to drag him onto there. That's better. Okay, let's take him to there. Trying to see if we can find an overhead clip of him. Okay, let's use this. So if you look at Jono, because he keeps everything in alignment, his arm comes in, spears into the water, and look at it, stays perfectly straight. You can see it going alongside of the black line. And that means his legs can stay together. Okay, he'll then start the catch, and the other arm will come over, and again, nice and straight. Okay, so if we compare this to what you're doing, you're forcing your body to rotate because you're forcing the arm over in that direction, and then you're taking another stroke, and that one's going in this direction, and then your legs are scissor kicking. Okay, so get this alignment sorted out. I'll keep Jono on there for the second. Okay, so let's take you forward a little bit. Okay, so what we're looking at now is the catch. Okay, so what's happening here is because of the misalignment, when you take a turn to breathe, your arm is dropping down. that means you're not getting the support you need. If your arm was straight here, if we look at Jono here, when he breathes, we wait for him to breathe. When he breathes, he hasn't breathed yet. There we go. When he breathes, he's breathing there. His arm is still up and supporting him. What yours is doing is it's collapsing down and it's not giving you the support you need. That arm should be straight up here still, which means you can push down on the water. And that'll just give you enough purchase for you to turn your head and to take the breath, okay? Your arm is also straight, okay? If I show you, let's have a look at Cassie Patton. Here we go, perfect shot. Look at that. So this is a good shot here actually. So she will take a breath. Take a breath. See, that's what I was talking about before. The arm, her arm is actually still. Her arm is actually the other way around. So her elbow, ideally, her arm positioning would be a bit more like that. But it quickly comes into that position as she breathes. So she's breathing, her arm is nice and straight, providing the support for her to breathe. And then what I'm trying to demonstrate here is the catch. So her arm comes down, because she's got a high elbow, it allows her to get this angle with the arm, and it suddenly snaps down into a 90-degree angle and then pushes back. So what you have is you have all this surface area pushing back and providing the support. See if we can find a head-on view. See it back straight there. Here we go. There we go. So what we have here is your arm coming in and pushing down straight. So sorry about this, still getting used to all this. You know, almost 180 degrees, whereas get the body positioning right, it should ideally be 100 to 120 degrees. So we play Cassie through a little bit. Say she's 100. She's 100 there. And you actually will see her right arm actually comes a little bit too close to her chest. So even the best swimmers have got things they can tidy up on. See, that arm is much wider out, whereas this arm comes up very close to the chest here. Okay, so, and it's the same on the left, sorry, same on the, yeah, the left-hand side. Stays nice, sorry, stays straight. So you're not getting the propulsion that you need. And when we're looking at swimmers, we're looking at drag, reducing drag, and increasing propulsion. So the drag is caused by the body positioning, the head position, and the propulsion is predominantly, you need to improve it by reducing the drag and improving the hand position and the catch and the pull through. The legs as well to some degree. If we have a look at your legs, we can see it down here, I think. You got a reasonable leg kick there. I mean, your ankle, you could do with some ankle flexibility, because if I pause it, take it back. There. So your leg angle. Your your legs, your feet are quite a long way down, like anchors, and the same on that foot. So we can work on some ankle flexibility as well. Other than that, your kick's not too bad. Your kick's not too bad. I mean, most of the issues are caused by the over rotation and the crossover at the front, causing your legs to scissor kick. If we see if I can find an example of a good let's have a look at Cassie again and just see if we can find a good picture of her feet. Yeah, it's not ideal, but you can see her foot is straight. Her foot, that's a foot there, and it's directly behind her. So providing that propulsion, and not only providing the propulsion, there we go, look at that, not only providing the propulsion from a good kick, like a paddle, but also reducing the drag down. If her foot was down here, yours is 120 degrees, then there'd be a huge amount of drag being created. Okay, so ankle flexibility as well. Okay, so they're the major issues. So I'm just going to make a note of that myself. So breathing, head position, body position. And once we work on those three things first of all, and then we can move on to the catch. We'll have a better catch already if we sort out those three things we just mentioned. And then from that point on, we can move on and we can start to continue to fine tune. Okay, so what we're going to look at now then, Richard, is how we can address some of these issues. So the first thing we're going to look at is your breathing and holding your breath. So what I'm going to show you is a video clip from Paul Newsom from Swim Smooth. He explains about breathing and some the sink down drill, which is just a way to get you to kind of to work on being relaxed and having a constant exhalation out while swimming. So I'll just put this on now.
Okay, so breathing is probably one of the hardest things for swimmers to get right, certainly in the initial stages of developing their swimming stroke. Even some very advanced swimmers maybe grew up with the knowledge that they should actually be holding onto their breath underneath the water to somehow improve their buoyancy, to lift their whole body higher in the water there. However, we find that this causes a few problems. A, the swimmer often feels quite anaerobic in the water, so they feel like they're often getting quite sort of tense, breathing doesn't feel relaxed. And B, that whole idea of improving the buoyancy, if the buoyancy is held in the chest and lungs, that's going to allow the swimmer to sit very high at the front. But typically for many male triathletes, low sinking legs in the water, that's going to exacerbate this low sinking leg position in the water. And whilst
Let's pause that for a second while it catches up. Can have a tendency to get a bit sticky, this playback.
is very, very high, the back end will be dropping down, creating additional drag. If you're holding onto your breath underneath the water, it also gives a sensation that you're actually going to feel like you're running out of breath, running out of steam very, very quickly. When you take a breath of air in, you're obviously sucking in oxygen and carbon dioxide at the same time. Your body wants the oxygen, but it doesn't want that CO2. You need to get rid of it underneath the water. If you hold on to the CO2, the relative levels start to increase, and that gives a sensation of you feeling like you're going to gasp and run out of steam.
You can see him constantly breathing out into the water, all the time breathing out, non-stop.
So we're going to try this little exercise now with these 5 swimmers in the pool here at Challenge Stadium, just to show you how we can get them swimming and breathing a little bit more easily and economically underneath the water with this sink down exercise. Okay, guys, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to ask you to try and sink to the bottom of the pool. Okay, now, whilst that might sound like a very simple exercise, especially for those of you who feel like you're quite sinky, especially in the legs, what you're going to do here is you're not going to use your arms and legs to sink down, so you're not allowed to push or anything like that. Initially, we want you to take a big breath of air in, blow out from your mouth, and see if you can sit your bum on the bottom of the pool. Okay? I'll count you down from 3, 2, 1, and then give it a try. Remember, no assistance with the arms and legs. Just see by blowing out if you can get yourself down. Mike's very keen here. I can see him. He's, come on, get him down. Okay. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Good. Okay. Now, some of you got down straight away like a rock, sunk straight down to the bottom. But Mike, it's probably fair to say with yourself that when you swim, one of the biggest single things holding you back with your swimming is low sinking legs in the water. That's why you feel so much better swimming with a pool buoy between the legs, or maybe swimming in the ocean, etc. And yet, in that situation, you were the last person to sink down. So, what actually happened there? Mike was actually holding on to his breath quite substantially. You were like tiny little trickle of air coming out, but it wasn't a full exhale. Cindy went down like a stone, straight down to the bottom. She's also very lean, okay, but she went down very, very quickly because of the way she exhaled in the water. So this time, what I want you to try is we'll all try what Mike's doing and see if we can actually get ourselves down to the bottom of the pool. So we'll take a big breath of air in. We'll hold on to the breath with the face underneath the water for the first 3 seconds. And then very quickly, blow out and see if we can get down to the bottom. Now, this is the way that many, many swimmers swim. They'll hold on to the breath for the first couple of strokes and then blow rapidly, taking a nice shot just before they pop their head back down into the water. Unfortunately, this adds to the buoyancy like we saw with Mike there, and keeps the swimmer in this situation sitting very, very high in the water. Okay, are we ready then? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Now you can see here that all the swimmers have stayed floating in the water there. Eventually they go down, but it's only once they start to release that they get down straight away.
Okay, so you can see that demonstrating there that's you know, the importance of fully exhaling and getting all of that air out of your lungs. Excuse me, you can probably hear the cat going mad in the background. Yeah, so a constant exhalation out of air. Okay, so once you get used to how that works and how that feels, it should hopefully help you be slightly more relaxed with your breathing. It's something which you can work on over time, but this drill just demonstrates how important it is. Okay, in terms of head positioning, what I'd like you to do then is work on, obviously think about your breathing, do some swimming lengths where you're just thinking about keeping your head still. Just be conscious of it and just think about, keep your head still and not lifted up to breathe and then down to breathe out, up to breathe and down to breathe out. Do a length with your head, with your eyes looking directly forwards towards the front of the pool. If I pause it there, so your eyes would be looking this way. Okay, so do a couple of lengths looking that way. Do a couple of lengths looking at 45 degrees just to see what that feels. Do a couple of lengths looking straight down. And then finally do a couple of lengths looking straight back and just feel the difference and how it affects you and how it affects your body positioning. Okay, ideally we want to be having the water so that it just touches the forehead. If I show you. There, so you can see it perfectly with Jono there. The water is breaking, kind of the centre of his head, and his head never goes underneath the water. So that's what we want to be aiming for. Okay, right, so body positioning. Body positioning next. Now we need to get you to do a series of drills which work on your body positioning. Now, ideally, you need fins for this, and I can get you some fins if you let me know if you want me to kind of go ahead and get these. Then we can do that. Um, fins really help with propulsion, and what it means is you can concentrate on actually working the drill properly rather than trying to maintain propulsion and struggling to breathe because you're so low in the water. The propulsion given by the fins will allow you to get that momentum going and will allow you to breathe much more easily. And like I say, concentrate on the actual the drill in hand. I was trying to find the. In fact, if we go to drills, what I'm looking for is the kicking on the side drill. Kick on the side drill. Here we go. Have a watch of this.
The kick on your side drill is a mainstay drill of the Swim Smooth program. It's a multi-purpose drill that develops your posture in the water, your alignment, and your catch setup technique.
Kicking on your side has been used in swimming for many years, originally used to either promote good leg kick efficiency and or promote rotation. To practice this drill well, push off in that torpedo position and immediately pull out so you're actually kicking on your side. Left arm extended forward, right arm held loosely down by your side, almost just down by your hips. Have your eyes looking down towards the bottom of the pool, blowing a long continuous stream of bubbles. Turn your head to the side to take a breath whenever you need to, but otherwise have your attention looking down towards that black line. When you're kicking on your side, think about drawing your shoulder blades together and back to allow great alignment of your middle finger straight down the pool, pointing straight forward in front of the same shoulder. One of the most commonly overlooked issues with this particular drill is for that lead arm to be collapsing or just hung loosely in the water. The lead arm needs to have a sense of rigidity about it. Fingertips below the wrist and wrist below the elbow.
I'll just stop it there a second, Peter. The reason I'm stopping it there is because remember I explained to you that when you take a breath, your lead arm is collapsing down. So this drill, not only does it get your body position correct, it gets you used to breathing on your side and turning your head to breathe, but it also gets you used to having that lead arm out in front of you and staying high while you're taking the breath.
Otherwise, if you collapse onto your elbow and allow the hand to rise up towards the surface of the water, you'll effectively be pushing yourself backwards and sinking your legs. Notice how the palm of the hand is looking down towards the bottom of the pool, not with the palm turned out towards the side, as is commonly seen when people try this exercise for the first time.
Okay, so pretty straightforward drill. Like I say, you need fins to do the drill properly. They do it at the pool on a Saturday morning session without fins, but it's very difficult to do. And also, you really need someone to watch you to make sure that you're doing the drill correctly, because what can very often happen is the lead hand can creep up towards the surface. Let's see if I can find a clip of it. So this hand can creep up this way, and this arm can creep up this way, and then the hand can actually be upturned. It's very important that you've got shoulder above elbow, above wrist, above fingers, and that's the correct hand. We could then, the correct position, what he can then do is bend at the elbow, and he can start going into the catch from that point. Okay, so you get used to doing the kick on the side drill, and then a progression of that is the 6-1-6, which is pretty much the same thing, but it involves taking a stroke. You do 6 leg kicks, 1 stroke. You roll onto the other side, take a breath, 6 leg kicks, and then continue on like that. So I'll play this for a second.
This is the 6-1-6 drill, which is a development of the kick on your side drill. It's a building block of the stroke here, as we're introducing a single stroke to swap the swimmer from side to side.
This is a great drill to include in most of your warm-up sets, as it helps to reaffirm that idea of good streamlining, body position, and alignment in the water, and allowing you to just slowly rotate from one stroke over to the next.
Okay, so that's another drill that we can work on together. And then a progression of that again is the 6-3-6.
The 6-3-6 drill is a further development of our side kicking exercises. With 6-1-6, we introduced a single stroke to swap sides, With 636, we're taking 3 strokes in a row to swap you onto the other side of your stroke.
This allows you to really feel like you're building back up into the normal freestyle stroke. Almost think of it as normal bilateral breathing, with just a period extended out on your side whilst you take that breath in, ensuring that you remember to align your stroke, shoulders back and chest forward.
Okay, so they are the main issues that we want to be working on first of all. I'm going to stop there because I think what we can do is have a tendency to overcomplicate. If I start moving on to catch drills and things like that, then it'll be too much. We need to get the breathing, get the body position sorted out first of all, and then we can move on to other things from that point. But it allows us to have some focus on what we're doing from the early days. So I think that's pretty much all I need to cover right now. So the main thing, and again, just summarising it: head position, breathing and not holding your breath, and then your body positioning overall. Okay, so practicing the breathing drills, thinking about just swimming and just thinking about your head position and the Popeye kind of position with one goggle out of the water and one goggle in. And then body position would be the kicking on the side drill. And again, I could do with watching you doing these drills just to make sure that they're being done correctly. I've got an underwater walkie-talkie, so if I'm watching you and your arm is in the wrong position, I can tell you live when you're actually what you need to do to straighten things out. So we can go through all that, and they're the first steps towards getting you much straighter and higher in the water. And I think we should see some fairly good improvements fairly quickly. Well, I hope you found that useful. I know it's not super slick, but that's the best way to kind of demonstrate as these things, which I'm hoping you've kind of seen from the way we've put this together. If you've got any questions, let me know. Let me know about the fins. Ideally, the best kit to buy, or the items I recommend are some freestyler hand paddles, which will help a little bit further down the line, and they can actually help with the kicking on the side drill as well. The fins, some agility paddles, which we'll come to once we start looking at the catch, and then a tempo trainer, which I mentioned very early on, your stroke rate. We can look at your stroke rate and potentially get that increased as well. And tempo trainers help with that. That's all the kit, ideally, that you need to start off with. You can get away with all or none of it, but obviously it's down to you and costs and things. The whole lot, I think all 4 of them cost, with the bag, cost about I think it's £99 or something like that. But anyway, so that's that. And let's come back to me if you've got any questions.